Hello and welcome to another lecture. We're coming back round to what I think is one of the most important topics of SEO, which is linking. Now, we've previously, from a very high level, covered what PageRank is, and we know that search engines look at how various pages link together to help them decide which ones they should rank and which ones they shouldn't. And we're going to go into that in a bit more depth now. Before we kick off, understanding PageRank actually isn't that helpful. What is helpful is understanding what PageRank is trying to describe and how that translates into SEO strategies and tactics and things you can actually do to help your web pages rank better. And this first lecture is going to do exactly that. We're going to be talking about what it is that PageRank describes, and we'll build on this in future lectures. In this lecture, we're going to run through, as I said, what it is that PageRank is describing and how internally linking, or actually just linking in general, impacts this. So to do this, we're going to have our hypothetical World Wide Web, which consists currently of a grand total of 9 web pages that are not linked together. So the first interesting thing from an algorithm point of view is whenever Google discovers a new page or document on the web, it is assigned a tiny amount of PageRank, which is represented by these tiny dots. Now, on their own, that doesn't mean a lot, because what PageRank is trying to describe is the relationships between these pages. So it might not surprise you that if this page decides to link to this one, what will happen is this page has a certain amount of PageRank it can attribute, almost like a vote, to this page. So you'll see this page now has its one little dot of PageRank and another quarter of a dot. Now, don't let those quarters and full dots actually represent anything. They're just there to try and get the idea across to you. They're not representative of any real mathematics that's going on here. So this may not shock some of you, and if we paused the web there, it would be a fair assumption to say this page here is probably the best page on the internet, or the most important one, because it's one that has been cited by another one. But of course, this picture, this graph, gets a lot more complicated over time, and what might happen is actually, if it is a really good page, a few of these pages may decide to link to this one, and you'll see here now we have 2 of our kind of dots, if you like, of PageRank. So this is how PageRank is spread around the web, and what PageRank is trying to describe is if a random surfer was clicking around and you paused, they would most likely be on this page because it has the highest PageRank and it has the most links to it. And the same applies, as we know, to Googlebot, because these Googlebots are, as we know, going around the web clicking links. And again, if you could hit the pause button on where all of these bots are on the web, they're most likely going to be piled onto the pages with the most links because they've got the most routes to get there. So one thing that we can learn from this model is a key concept that a page may be considered important because it is linked to from many other pages, which is exactly what's happening here. So all of these pages are of equal importance, but this one here is linked to from many other pages, therefore it is deemed more important. Something else, though, interesting happens as we get to sort of the next level of this, which is what happens if this page decides to link somewhere, such as this page. What's going to happen is, instead of maybe giving a quarter of a little circle of PageRank, it's actually going to give a full half a circle. Why is that? It's because it has more PageRank to vote with, because it itself is a more important page. So not all pages, well, all pages are created equal, but all pages do not exist equally in terms of this model. So these pages that are considered more important actually pass more weight when they link to other pages as well. So this is our other key concept of linking and PageRank, which is a page may be considered important because it is linked from another important page. And that's what we just saw in that example. And here lies your challenge, which is based on this model, which is that a page may be considered important if it's linked to from many other pages, or a page may be considered important if it's linked to from other important pages, Which pages of your website do you think may be considered important? Pause the video, have a think about this, maybe have a look at your site, think what you think is the correct answer, and then unpause the video and I'll give you some examples that I think will likely be correct in your case. So here's 2 examples that I think will apply to everyone. The first one is any pages that you have linked to from your main menu are going to be considered important because they fit that rule of they are pages linked to from many pages. If you think your website is maybe 500 pages big and you have a page linked to from your main menu, we know that it's got links from 500 other pages. Therefore, it's probably important because it's linked to from all these pages. The other example is pages that we know are linked to from other pages that we consider important. And the home page is always a great guess here. So firstly, it's very likely that your home page is linked to from every page on your site. So it's very common, maybe you have a logo or a main menu link that goes to your home page. So your home page is going to be one of your most important pages. The other thing is, from an external point of view, it's the most common place for other websites to link to you is your home page. So it's a good bet that your home page is your most important page. Therefore, any pages you directly link to from there will be considered important. And finally, the key concept, or rather key caveat I want you to take away from all this is everything we've just discussed is based on what's called a random surfer model. What I mean by that is it's predicated on the fact that all links on a page are equal. So whether it's a massive link at the top of the page or a tiny link in the footer, we're assuming it's equally likely that a user will click on those links, which of course, as we know, is not true. It is, however, useful at this stage just to understand this model in these terms, and we're going to build on this in the future. So don't worry about it, and well done if that's already crossed your mind. This lecture should have given you a little bit more grounding in PageRank and how we like to think about the things PageRank is trying to describe. In the next couple of lectures, we're going to more detail above and beyond this random surfer model and thinking about what we actually need to do to get value from this knowledge. If you've got any questions at this point, please leave them in the Q&A and I'll do the best I can to answer them.